You'll be calling your lawyer? Just what I want to hear. As a former school board privacy officer, I dealt with many FOI requests from the public that dealt with anything from salaries of senior employees to value of contracts awarded to emails about routine business. Occasionally someone would submit a very complex request that would require a lot of time to complete. So it was with one parent who wanted thousands of emails, committee meeting minutes, reports, and the personal notes of a dozen different school board employees. The reason? She had requested that her children's bus stop move from the entrance to the cul-de-sac she lived on to right in front of her house, while the difference was only about 100 meters, 109 yards. The request was denied because the circle at end of the cul-de-sac was too small for the bus to turn around. After working on the request for more than a month, she grew impatient and demanded to know what was taking so long. I tried to explain I was a one-man operation, but she started making accusations that I was part of a conspiracy against her. She demanded that I produce all the records immediately or I will contact my lawyer. Quote, "Now, I'm smart enough to know that anyone who says, I will contact my lawyer, doesn't have one. Especially not one who specializes in freedom of information requests." But, playing along, I said, "Oh, we don't want it to come to that. I'll finish this today," and hung up. So I did. The legislation requires that we charge $7.50 per 15 minutes of search time for records, plus $7.50 per 15 minutes of preparation time, redacting personal information, eliminating non-responsive info, etc., plus other incidental costs, copying, printing, etc. Because I had to have ICT help with the emails and computer records, the charges added up rapidly. I called her back the next day and told her the first batch of records would be ready by the end of the week. Then I asked how she'd like to pay the costs. "The costs?" she said. "What costs? How much?" Quote, $4,870, I said. "As I'm sure your lawyer will explain. 50% is payable up front before we proceed any further with the request, then we can start on the next batch." Dead quiet on the other end of the phone. "You haven't heard the end of this. I'm calling less than local news," she shouted, and hung up. It is now 3 years later. Still waiting. ... She must have thought that the freedom of information meant it was free. Would have sent her the bill as payable now, with a penalty for late payment like the standard for the school is. In Germany, the equivalent is free, but rarely used because it was bureaucratic as fuck. Then some helpful hackers set up ask-the-state.de, and super handy online tool, streamlining the process, which led to some agencies flat out refusing to process those requests because they were numerous. The law does state a deadline for answering the requests and allows 0 excuses. So next site up is sue-the-state.de. $30 an hour is nothing for that kind of data compiling. Did I miss something or not understand? Wouldn't you have reached the same resolution by giving her the fee structure and estimated cost when she filed the FOIA? Her threat just prompted you to pretend to do the work. If you'd actually done the work, regardless of how long it took or her having an attorney or not, she would have never paid it, and then you would have wasted all that time and been stuck with the bill. And she wouldn't have gotten her information. Unless you were planning on doing it for free and her threat caused you to change your mind. But you said the charges were required. It seems her threat actually helped the situation, because you were never going to get paid. I needed some FOI documents. I went to where the information was located and said I need blah, blah, blah. They pointed the way and used their copier to get what I needed. An executive asked me, "Where did you get this? How did you get this?" "I have been asking for months." I said. Freedom of Information Act. It took me a couple of hours. I hope the interest is still running up. Winking face. I guess you never heard the end of it, then. It's so great. Whenever anyone states that they're going to go to the news or call their lawyer, it means that I get to end the interaction, tell them the conversation is over, and ask them to leave. Freedom costs $1.05. Aw man. You get to charge for your FOI requests? Canadian federal access to information requests used to cost a $5 processing fee, but I believe the fee was just eliminated. Now everyone is free to slow down our government processes even more than they are already slowed. To make all of us gather every time we've ever typed a specific word in our emails. Bring back the $5 barrier. Should have sent her an invoice for what you did work up for her. Then when she didn't pay, you should have sent it to collections. That's a monster parent. But you're pulling a classic evil move that public officials often do. Drive up the FOIA costs to prevent the public from getting important public information. I wish she would have written a letter explaining how the scope of her specific request would require $4,000. But other simpler requests could probably be done for some cheaper price. That's what a helpful public servant would do. As someone who has worked in IT in a university, I find it humorous how many people don't realize that FOI requests have costs that are required to be charged. Obviously, she wanted her daughter on a short bus that could make that tight turn. I used to work for a state law enforcement agency and we'd get FOIA requests all the time. People would refuse to believe it didn't apply to us, only to federal agencies. I was under the impression that a cul-de-sac legally needed enough room for a fire truck to turn around in. I wish you would have spelled out freedom of information at the beginning, then abbreviating FOI later as appropriate. Oh, that news story would be great. Local infidel misunderstands everything and thinks they are extra special. Yes, I know what I wrote in that title. Everything the government does is free, right? From healthcare to sewer repair. The government services are all free and all the people doing the work are being paid by inhaling air. Our taxes that are all too high. Just pay for stupid stuff. Like that expensive space program and the military. Overstated. I know. But some folks truly are delusional.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.